happy October. I hope you all are enjoying fall and loving fall. I know it's been a while since Chrissy and I recorded an episode, Christy. I think it was like in August when it was hotter than heck and humid. And I was probably bitching about the weather to you and to my blog and to my journal. So I love this weather. And welcome back to our honest conversations and ending marriages, relationships, and having children episodes, monthly episodes. We missed September, but we're back here in October.
Yeah, and I actually like summer weather better, but fall is my second favorite.
I was gonna say I know that you love summer, and I was like, I not that I hate summer, but it's been a long, hot summer,
Which is good for me.
which is like, ugh. So I'm thriving in this weather. I'm loving it. My window is right there, and I'm just seeing all the beautiful colors. There's like a bird on the roof right there, so it's really nice. And speaking of October, there's a lot of awarenesses going on this month, including Domestic Violence Awareness Month and October 10th was Mental Health Day. And we're all going to talk about that today and how it all intertwines about mental health, um, domestic violence, and honest conversations in ending marriages, relationships, and having children.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Christy, how do you want to start this episode today?
Well, let's start with what the government has to say about domestic abuse. And right on the CDC website, there is, and Paia will put this in the
Yes.
information. There is an article about intimate partner violence prevention. And so, intimate partner violence is just another way of saying domestic violence. Um, because it acknowledges that you don't necessarily live with the person who could be domestically abusing you. Um, and there are, it's a health issue because people are getting physically and emotionally harmed, not only right in the present, but the mental health problems, especially, continue sometimes for the rest of people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it interferes with people's ability to earn and take care of their children. So, there are a couple of different types of domestic or intimate partner violence. There's the most, what you think of the most, which is physical violence. And that's like hitting, punching, choking, biting, physically restraining, those kind of things. And that's what you hear about the most. There's sexual violence,
Mm-hmm.
being forced to have sex, being
Even when
forced.
you're married.
Yes, and Paia, that's a really good point. Like, marriage isn't a license to have sex, right?
To beholden and be forced and coerced to have sex. Yeah.
Yeah, and and that's like that is especially a thing um amongst more conservative people. Um and but it is violence if
Hmm.
you don't want it and it's happening. That is sexual violence. um Touching, or you being forced to touch, or intercourse, all of it.
Hmm.
um Psychological violence, using verbal and nonverbal communication to harm somebody mentally. So, for instance, saying like, if you don't, talk to me, or if you don't do this or that or whatever, then I'm going to hurt our kids, or I'm going to hurt your parents, or I'm going to hurt your friend, or I'm going to go to your work and I'm going to get you fired, or I'm going to damage your car, or whatever. It's to make you afraid so that you will do things. And it could be just raising a hand.
Hmm.
It could be standing in a certain aggressive manner. It could be, particular. looks that people give. Uh,
Intimidation.
yeah, and ugh, intimidation is probably the key tool of the
Mhm.
abuser, right?
Right. Yeah. Um, when I think of the psychological abuse, think of it as like the mind games, the one where you start thinking, "Am I crazy? Am I overreacting?" When it's like, "Oh, Christy, you take things too seriously. It's just a joke." And then you start thinking, "Oh my God, am I too sensitive? I am too much, aren't I? It is just a joke." So that's like the psychological is when you start doubting yourself. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that's psychological abuse, and that is abuse, is when you start doubting and when you start thinking you're the crazy one, or maybe I am overreacting, I am oversensitive. That's how they show that your abuser is showing, hey, yeah, I'm gonna show my power by making you doubt yourself.
Yeah, and like the whole term gaslighting, which is what you're talking about,
Mhm.
like I had never even heard that term until probably about 10 years ago. And I'm like, where has this term been all my life?
Mhm.
Because like I know so many people who have been
We've all
gas.
been feeling it, but we
I've been
couldn't put a name
gaslit.
to that feeling. Yeah, it's like, "I'm crazy, you're sensitive, you're overreacting."
Yeah, and when you continue to be told the same things over and over, and and you think the person loves you and has your best interests in mind, it is hard to tell, like, the truth from a lie. And yeah, it's a horribly powerful thing. um you need long-term mental health care. There are a lot of people nowadays who specialize in narcissistic abuse, helping narcissistic abuse survivors. um yeah, it's yeah. And some facts about domestic abuse is 41% of women and 26% of men experience contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime.
Hmm. And
So that is almost and a third of
yeah,
men.
yeah. Technology is great, but technology has also given us lots of access to news in very harmful ways.
Oh, do you mean like
Like
tracking
cyber
apps and stuff
stalking,
like that?
tracking, yeah, all of that. Like even like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that. Yes, there are positives, but there are also negatives in technology, which has allowed so much easier access to check up on someone.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And for that reason, it's not a good idea to post too much about where you are
Your
until after you've
location,
already been
yeah, your
there.
location, yeah. Yeah. Speaking of all this, I was actually at an event earlier this month for a event that I was at to actually also recognize domestic violence awareness month, and we had so many speakers, and one of them was talking about this is the use of technology to track and how sometimes when a couple is separated or divorced, and they've made everything so easy on your phone, like one click, like your toaster turns on, or your fridge or something. So it's so much technology, and if you don't change that password, sometimes the previous partner still has access to all of that and will start doing things. And
Hmm.
the presenter was saying that people who are living in that house would think I'm going crazy. The TV would turn on, this would turn on, or the heat was shut off, because everything is accessible by phone if you put it that way. And so, um That's another way of using technology to gaslight you also into that, like the psychological abuse.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that one. And then so it's like if you weren't the person who like installed that technology or set up that technology,
Yeah,
then you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to change this." And
right.
then it might not be like, you might have to like call the company who installed it, and then you're like, "I don't know who installed it."
Mhm.
Oh man. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so it's so nice, but there's also drawbacks of technology also.
Yeah. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't even think of that. And so then, for psychological aggression or violence, um, over 61 million women and 53 million men have experienced psychological aggression by, an intimate partner. And so that's kind of like really similar for men and women.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of men who have been psychologically abused. And women are not just all angels. And I know that some divorce cases that I've worked on, that it's really hard for men to admit that they're being abused, and that you know that's why they're like wanting to end the marriage. But okay, like, so you have to tell me that, and you don't even have to tell me.
Mhm.
You just want to get divorced. And, like, who really cares? What's more important is that you're getting out of the situation.
Mhm. What I've noticed in working with both men and women, in therapy is when we think of abuse, we think about the physical abuse. But when you think of men and women biologically, men are stronger than women. However, women, we use our words. And our words can be very harsh. We may not be able to, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, we may not be able to physically harm our partner. Or even if we do, sometimes the partner knows that they can't retaliate physically back because there will be consequences, legal consequences. And so women often use words psychologically and emotionally to abuse their partners. And so when you gave me that stats, I'm not surprised because emotional and psychological abuse, we don't have the physical strength, but we have the words to cause harm to our partners or our spouses or whoever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And another, psychological abuse, or two more instances that probably aren't thought about very often are, women will accidentally get pregnant to
Mhm.
keep a man.
Yeah.
They're totally on birth control, and then, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, they end up pregnant, and,
Mhm.
oh, and then the honorable man wants to, marry the woman, and or at least
Or
stick around,
stay. Mhm.
and, now he's, with her for the next X number of years until he
Right.
can't stand her, or until the
Or
child turns 18,
forever. Yeah.
whatever. And, he had no choice in that, and he has to live like that every day
Mhm.
until either he gives up and, they separate or divorce,
Mhm.
or the child turns 18. And can you imagine having to, live with someone who you do not even want to be in a relationship with?
No.
Because
No.
dads are disadvantaged, not as much as they used to be disadvantaged, but
Yeah.
dads are still disadvantaged, in the family court system.
Mhm.
So, men have a lot of motivation to, if they find out, oh, they have a child now, to stay with that woman.
Mhm.
And then another way that women do mental abuse is child related again. where, okay, the relationship ended. Well, now to continue to manipulate and control you, I'm going to keep the kids from you. And I'm going to make you have to, take me to court multiple times before like anything really ever happens to me for, keeping your kids from you. And you're going to spend a bunch of money and you're not going to be seeing your kids all this time.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just firmly believe that, kids deserve both parents as long as the parents are good parents, or I should say at least decent parents.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, at least decent parents.
Mhm.
And so Minnesota has made it a felony level crime to deprive a parent of his or her court ordered parenting time. So
Mhm.
hopefully that's gonna like change, like, you know, people, usually moms trying to keep the kids away from dads. Um, Now the law only changed, I think, was 2 years ago. So I don't have information on, like, how many people have actually been convicted under that. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't know how consistently the state of Minnesota is enforcing it, and what the penalties they're actually giving people are. But for a felony, like, you could very easily get a year in prison.
Wow.
It's just not even worth it.
Yeah.
But it's all about manipulation and control, like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're not doing what I say anymore, so I'm keeping the kids from you. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna tell the kids lies about you." And
Mhm.
and it goes the other way too. I do have a couple of female friends,
Mhm.
who, when the relationship ended, um,
Mhm.
it was marriages in both situations that the dads alienated the kids, from them. And so dads do that too. It's just basically, when you've married a, you know, like kind of an evil person,
Mhm.
they want to continue to manipulate and control you. So they're going to do it how they can. And when you leave them, the only tool they have left is the kids.
Right.
That's it.
Unfortunately, we see a lot of that, this post abuse separation, and it goes either way for both ex-husbands, ex-wives, same-sex relationships, all of that. Because children are an easy tool seen by parents to manipulate, and children love both parents, and so they want to do right by both, and so they are put in a very precarious situation where they shouldn't be. They're children.
Yeah. Yeah. I've talked to some like teenagers and young
Mhm.
adults, who, said, "Oh yeah, my mom tried to alienate me from my dad or dad from mom." And they all say, "I either don't have a relationship with that parent who tried to alienate me from the other parent, or they have like barely no relationship." So like, if you're watching now and you're like thinking that it would be a great idea to just cut mom or dad out of the picture, from your children's lives, unless the parent is really like not even a decent parent, it's going to come back and bite you in the
Mhm.
butt. You could lose your child or have a really bad relationship with your child. And I mean, if your reason behind keeping your child away from the parent is to protect your child, um, then that shows care for your child. And
Mhm.
so you must love that child. So do you really want to put that relationship at risk?
Right. Right. So don't be surprised if your child is estranged from you or cut off all contact with you.
Wow. And and so, like, and domestic violence or intimate partner violence, it can
Mhm.
happen to people anywhere.
Yes.
Like, you know, rich people pay a lot of money to
Mm-hmm.
hush their spouses when they get divorced. They pay a lot of money so that usually wives won't tell the truth about what happened.
Or hire really good lawyers.
Yeah, or hire, yeah, there we go. Hire really good lawyers to try to make it seem like nothing happened.
Hmm.
And so, don't think that this doesn't happen amongst the rich and famous, because it does. And you've read stories of like
Oh God, I've worked
women
with
just
like
disappearing. Women just disappearing.
I've worked with I've worked with doctors. I've worked with doctors and spouses of doctors too, who were in these situations, and um it's easier to hide when you have money. That's the only difference.
Yeah, so when you have money, um, you can have, better clothes and makeup that will cover up
Mhm.
things. And, honestly, especially nowadays, you can work at home. A lot of
Mhm.
the time, people might not see, like I damaged the meniscus in my right knee a couple weeks ago, and like, I didn't really skip a beat too much because I work at home.
Mhm.
And I could, for the most part, keep doing everything I was doing. I mean, it was harder to get around my house,
Yeah.
um, but I didn't have to go to a place of employment. I didn't have to drive there and
Mhm.
navigate that place of employment.
Mhm.
So, like, when you earn more, you're likely to have more control over your work schedule,
Mhm.
and then you can work at home. Or maybe you can quit your job and get a job that you work at home.
Mhm.
And or maybe you can just quit working because maybe, you guys, you and the partner are that wealthy.
Mhm.
Um, or you can start a business and
Mhm.
you control your own schedule and
Mhm.
at home. And yeah, but if you are an employee, um, you are needing to come to work, bruises and all,
Mhm.
broken limbs and all, and for the whole world to see.
Right. Right. So it's harder to hide, even though you will probably not, when I say you, the person who is a victim will probably try to come up with a story. Um, and I think people will intuitively know, okay, something's going on. So it's harder to hide when you do have to go somewhere versus when you have the resources to hide it better.
Yeah. Yeah. And and also, if you have good friends, they're gonna spot it right away. So a couple years ago, I wasn't domestically abused, but I had this big bruise on my arm from my 121-pound bull Arab dog
Okay.
pulling me into the door frame of
Yeah.
the veterinary clinic because he was really excited. And like I could not control him, and I slammed into the door frame and I had this huge bruise. And so about a week later, I went out to lunch with some friends, and like, I don't know, 15 minutes into it, one of my friends was like, "What is that?" I was like, "What are you talking about? That bruise on your arm. Do I need to take somebody out?" And I was like, "Well, you like Prancer, so I don't think you're gonna take him out." Prancer did this to me, and I explained how, and she's like, "Oh, good. I thought some man did that to you because I was gonna take him out." And I was like,
Thank you. Thank you.
so, like, you know, friends, like the people who you surround yourself with are important too, because you need to surround yourself with people who, if you're in a bad situation, they're gonna try to help you get out of it.
Mhm.
They're not gonna just look the other way,
Mhm.
pretend nothing's happening. Or honestly, be part of the problem.
Right, convince you, "Oh, it's nothing big," or there's a lot of victim blaming, and unfortunately, it actually comes from a lot of other women.
Ooh, tell me about that.
You know, I think women, unfortunately, there's still a lot of internal misogyny, and, it's like, "Well, what did you do?" Or especially if the person comes from a certain lifestyle where they are provided for, it's hard. It's hard to leave that lifestyle where you live in comfort, even though you are being treated badly, even though your physical and emotional and spiritual health is at risk. It's the lifestyle that is being provided for you. And so, if you were to get out of that lifestyle, it's like, well, there's a lot of judgment and shame about, well, what did you do? Or you should just stay. Think about your children. Children are often weaponized in that way too. Do you want to break up your family? And I I don't know if men get that. I know a lot of women get that though. Do you want to break up your family?
Yeah. I mean, I know that men tend to, like, a group of men tend to stay because they know that they're going to be disadvantaged in the family court,
Mhm.
and they might only get like 1 day a week and every other weekend with their child, and they want to be with their child every day.
Mhm.
But yeah, like, based on just things that I've been told by men and heard men say, I don't think they get that.
Okay. I don't think they get that too. Women get it a lot. The shame, the guilt.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Like, we're supposed to be everything.
Yeah. We're supposed to
Else we're
be
just supposed to
everything.
be parents and not have a career because, well, you
Mhm.
had children. And it's like, so?
Yeah, so right. Yeah. Yeah, so, and it's a lot of, like, again, some of that misunderstanding comes from other women who make you feel a certain way, that you're like, "You know what? I should just suck it up." I mean, um, I've worked with women who come in and want to separate or divorce from their spouse, but realize that, and I'm not judging them because having children is hard. It's harder as a single parent. And so they've kind of made the decision and the acceptance that I'm not being treated as bad. It could be way worse. And so I'm going to stay for the children and for the life that I have. Because a lot of them have externally good lives, externally.
Yeah. Yeah. And, what they don't realize is that, you know, like, parenting will be easier, at least on your parenting time, um, because you won't have to take the other person into consideration
Mhm.
during your parenting time.
Yeah.
And you'll just do things that you and the kids wanna do. And this goes for dads too, like, if you're staying, because you wanna see your kids every day,
Mhm.
you know, I get that. But, maybe you'd actually be helping your kids by at least getting them away from their mom some of the time.
Mhm.
And dads do get 50-50 parenting time more often nowadays. So, definitely
Mhm.
keep that in mind, guys.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, women have, like, we're too thin, we're too fat, we work too much, we don't work enough.
You can never win. You're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. So you might as well damn it all. Damn it all.
Yeah, like, just don't care what people say, and,
Sure.
do as long as you're being a good moral person and taking care of kids if you have them. And yeah, yeah, because, I'm a mom and I had 2 kids who are, young adults now, and, like, it's always fun when I get, like, criticized by people who don't have kids, or who don't have kids that have had my life, the lives my children have had, or people who haven't had kids for 20 years, or it's
Mhm.
just like, but I just like let it roll over me. I'm
You're
like,
right. There's so much nuances to all of this, and it's so easy to judge. I don't have kids, but I used to judge people who his kids would throw fits at the stores and be, oh my God. Or like when their kid was like kind of dirty, I'm like, oh my God. And then I was babysitting. I'm like, holy shit, I don't judge anybody any goddamn more. Or, I know there's a lot of judgment about iPad kids, but as a babysitter, I'm like, you know what? Watch whatever.
you're
Just
like, I need a break.
so I'm not judging any of that. Or like you just feed your kid like chicken nuggets. It's like I don't care. The fact that they're freaking eating, I mean, it's so easy to be high and mighty, and then when you actually have to do the work and you're so goddamn tired, you're like, I get it now. I so get it. And I do this very rarely. And um so when I do it, I'm like, "Okay, I get this. I get this now." So
Yeah.
all of you have my compassion is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Mhm. And that's why I don't have kids.
Right. Like if, yeah, I had no idea what that was going to be
I
like,
have an idea. That's why I choose not to. And then when I go and babysit, it reinforces my decisions.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So like one of my relatives used to think my kids were just so disorderly. And honestly, my kids were pretty normal at that time. And and then when that person started having kids, I was like, wow, that person's kids are like even more disorderly than mine were. I wonder if that person realizes that,
I was gonna say, did that person realize that their kids were more disorderly?
for lack of a better word. Um, yeah, I was just kind of like, huh,
Hmm.
15 years ago.
Karma, karma.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's easy to judge. It's really easy to judge. And that's, again, you don't know until you walk in their shoes.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, damn. And it's shoes that you're like, I don't want these pair of shoes again. I don't. I don't want those pairs of shoes again.
Yeah. And,
Mm-hmm.
so getting back to intimate partner violence, um, half of people who are murdered by someone who knows them intimately. So it's either a spouse or an ex-spouse, partner, ex-partner, because that person knows the most about the things that you do every day. So they have a lot of opportunity. And I mean, heck, you might still be married or partnered with that person, so you're living with them. And yeah, so number one suspect all the time when somebody's harmed or killed is the partner, spouse, or ex-partner, ex-spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for a very good reason. Um, it's been like as far back, I don't know the statistics before the 1990s, but in the 90s, that's when the statistic, when I learned the statistic, and it's just held ever since. Um, the media tries to make you afraid of street crime and drug related crime and this and that.
That it's
But
a stranger that's
yeah,
gonna mug you out in the middle of the night, and it's actually the person sleeping next to you.
yep, yep. And I have never been hurt by a stranger, but I have been hurt by a family member
I'm sorry.
who
I'm
I
sorry
was,
to hear that.
but like no strangers. I also, don't hang out in bad areas.
Mhm.
So that helps. Um,
Mhm. You're not going out at, like, midnight.
right, yeah,
Right. Yeah,
by myself.
right.
But yeah, like, so, and you can ask the average woman, and that, the statistic will hold true. Like, if she's been, assaulted in any manner, physically harmed in any manner, was it just somebody off the street, or was it somebody who she knew, most likely a relative or spouse partner,
Hmm.
ex-spouse, ex-partner,
Hmm.
because they have all the what is it, mode, method, and opportunity or something.
Motive.
And
Yeah, I
they
watch a lot of crime
oh,
shows right now. So the motive, yeah, there's motive. And I don't know about you, but I felt like this past summer there was a lot in the news about that, about former spouses um unaliving, going into the workplace, or using children as a way to harm that person. I could think of like 3 or 4 since that made national news. Or there was even one here in Minnesota also where they just started dating, and he yeah, he unalived her too. So I think it was like in August or September. If I find that article, I will link it in the description box also here in Minnesota.
oh, um, yeah, they met at work, right?
I think it was I think they worked together, and I think he became obsessed with her.
Yeah, I think, and they were pretty young. They were like either in their 20s or early
Yes.
30s, I think.
Yes.
And it
I know
was
she was young. I don't know about him, but I know she was young.
oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
try to
don't
find that. I
even
think it's in my email somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think they dated.
Either.
I think like she just talked to him, and then he became obsessed, and then
Yeah, I'm on, I go on social media as part of my job too, and a lot of women are saying now, don't be nice. Don't be nice to people. Just keep to your business. Don't smile, don't say hi, just keep to yourself, because people sometimes get the wrong message when you are nice and say hi, and they think that you like them. It's like, no, I'm just being polite to you. And it can be taken the wrong way. The politeness can be taken the wrong way.
yeah, I've been told that by people because I'm just friendly to everybody.
Yeah.
Um, like for the last 20 years, people have been telling me that. And so I have calmed it down.
Okay. Did you notice anything, Christy, when you were nice? Did you get unwarranted, unwanted attention?
Occasionally, yeah. And people would tell me like, when you're nice to men, then they think you're hitting on them. And I'm like,
No,
really?
oh no, I was just trying to be nice.
Be nice to people?
I say
And
hi to everybody. I say hi to dogs and squirrels, right? Right.
and yeah, so like I have calmed it down quite a bit. Especially as I've gotten older and I can't run as fast. Um,
Okay.
when you get in your 50s, it's like you gotta take, I
Yeah.
don't run as fast, and yeah, no,
Yeah.
in all seriousness, like it's probably true, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like, because they're just like people with, personality disorders everywhere, and they don't look like a certain thing. I was a corrections officer
Mm.
at both a women's jail for the women's jail for Ramsey County, and then also at the juvenile prison in Red Wing.
Okay.
And let me tell you, the boys who got into the juvenile prison committed either multiple felonies or capital felonies. The capital felonies are murder and rape, and there might be one more. And most of these boys looked like just lovely individuals. The vast majority of them are not the poster child for criminal. And Yeah, like, you don't even know who you're dealing with when you're
Mhm.
walking by somebody or you're meeting somebody somewhere, like, you don't know who you're dealing with,
Mhm.
and as women, like, we just do have to protect ourselves, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, that probably does mean less communication with the world.
Right, right. I feel like I don't think I have a resting bitch face, but I think I have an aura that says like leave me the fuck alone kind of aura. So I don't get approached, which is good because yeah, I think I think I have more of that where I don't have a resting bitch face, but I'm just like fuck off kind of aura. And I think, you're in your 50s and I'm in my 40s. I think that's when women are just like, fuck off, you know? We're just like in a fuck off era. It's like, fuck off, leave me the fuck alone kind of thing, you know?
Like, oh, yeah. So it's just sad people like get into relationships and they don't like even do a basic criminal background check on people to see like, what the government proved that people have done in the past. And
Mhm.
they don't, like bother to get to know the person like really well before they have a kid with the person,
Mhm.
moved in with the person,
Mhm.
married to the person,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
stuck around and found out. But you can you can always, up until your last breath, you can fix problems. The only thing you can't fix is when you're gone. And
Mhm.
up until then, you can change your life.
Mhm. And you can't fix that other person. Please do not try to fix that other person. No, no, no.
Yeah.
You're not a
So
fixer.
is it correct, and I had read this a couple different places, but is it correct that when someone has narcissistic personality disorder, that the chances that they will actually be like a pretty decent person is like 1%?
The thing is, that's how they draw people in. It's with their charm. They're very charismatic. They're very charismatic. They're very charming. Most people won't know that they're narcissistic, only the people closest to them, because they want to maintain an image to everybody else that they're this caring, charismatic person, but the people closest to them know that that's BS. And so a lot of people are actually not going to know that this person is the way they are.
Right. And so, like, if you're in a relationship with someone like that and
Mhm.
you're like, oh, they just need counseling. Like, is it accurate that, like, counseling, like, there's like a maybe 1% chance that counseling will work to make a narcissist not a narcissist?
Well, they don't realize that they are because they think everybody around them is the problem, not them.
Right.
And so it's actually going to be other people going to therapy because of that person. So
Yeah.
more than likely, and if any therapist who specializes in narcissistic personality disorder, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually the people around this person that will need to go to therapy or will be questioning their sanity because this person is so charming and that's how they draw you in, is that charm, being charismatic and being very relatable. And so you notice that when I watch crime shows and this person commits a crime, everybody loves this person. No, Christy, no way. Christy is such a lovely person. Christy would never do that. That upstand because she's an upstanding like citizen in this community. And so, you build a really good reputation. But the people around you know, like the true Christy. Not that you are bad. I was using you as an example. And so, yeah. And so, actually, when people are like, oh, that person's narcissistic, true narcissistic will try to do everything to hide behind the facade.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Love bombing.
Mhm. And draw you in, very charming. It's like, wow, I've never had someone like you. I'm not like anybody else you've ever dated. No.
And then when you start to see the cracks in their personality, then they're like breadcrumb you to keep you.
Mhm. Yep, you're the crazy one. And so yeah, there's going to be a lot of misunderstandings where you're going to think like what is going on? Like what's going on with me?
Yeah. And if you need to consult the DSM
Oh jeez.
because you're like, don't understand somebody's behaviors, it's time to get out.
Yeah. Always trust your gut, always trust your intuition, and don't keep giving people chances. I think as women, I'm going to talk about us women, we've been told to keep giving people chances after chances. I don't know about you, Christy, but I've been told, well, maybe they just weren't they were nervous and they didn't show you their best part. If they can't even show me their best part at the beginning, that's
Right.
that's concerning. That's
Yeah.
concerning.
Yeah. Because everybody slides a little bit
Yeah.
after a couple of years.
Right. If you're already having like red flags and warning signs about this person, and everybody keeps telling you, just give them another chance, Christy. You don't know. Maybe you need to go second, third, fourth, fifth date. It's like, what the? No, you don't. Trust your intuition. If you see all these like signs, you're like, something's not right. You don't have to fix them. You're not paid to fix anybody, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, no matter how great they are in the beginning, it's every day that matters, every day. And another thing that the CDC points out is that there are negative physical health um, problems that you get from a domestic abuse. Um, you can get heart problems, muscle and bone problems, in addition to the obvious, like if you get hit or something gets broken, um, like, muscle and connective tissue problems, like those can last you for the rest of your life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Digestive problems, like, so if you're anxious,
Mm-hmm.
you can get irritable bowel syndrome, and you can also get nervous system problems, like all the stress just, causes you to get, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of that disease now. Where you like feel pain all over the place and
Fibromyalgia.
thank you, fibromyalgia. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that actually happened to one of my relatives from, um, having like a tough childhood and then multiple bad relationships. She has fibromyalgia and then another similar disease that I'm forgetting the name of.
I saw that diagnosis a lot. We were talking, we were kind of joking about some serpent that we saw on the CDC. And I said, I used to work at the VA hospital and I used to work with vets. And the female veterans that we saw who had a lot of sexual trauma or trauma in general, they all have fibromyalgia as a diagnosis.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We better not talk too much about how sexual assault isn't dealt
Hmm.
with properly in the military,
Hmm.
like still in 2025. I mean, it's a lot better than it used to be. And there's like a whole like different legal system in the military
Yes, there is.
that basically just pushes it under the rug for the most
Mhm.
part. And so I bet that there are a lot of sexual assault victims in the military. Did you like were a high percentage of your clients, female clients, sexual assault victims?
A lot of my clients were male, but the few that were female, a lot of them, so many, I want to say over 90% of them had some sort of sexual trauma
Wow.
in the military. And when you have that kind of trauma and then you come out and you don't deal with it, you unfortunately get into situations that may not be the best for you too, which can compound and accumulate more trauma to you for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine it's hard to get help for something that is pushed under the rug.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, I think that kind of leads us to like mental health day. It should be mental health month, but, just talking about how all this compounds, all this trauma goes into your physical health. And I've heard of women or other people losing hair because of, like this nervous system not being able to regulate. And then, also when they finally get out of the situation, there's almost like this body purge that their body goes through where they become really, really physically ill. I think because
Hmm.
they finally feel safe for the first time. And
Hmm.
so their nervous system is like, what is going on here? What's going on here?
Hmm. That is fascinating.
Mm,
And I can attest to the whole hair loss thing because I do have I have a lot of hair, so you can't tell, but I do have a little bald spot here, alopecia, and it is caused by stress, like high stress level.
mm,
And it's like I've had it for a very long time and apparently it's not going anywhere.
okay. Yeah. I think that just shows, Christy, how much everything affects everything. Like how our physical impacts our mental health, like physical. We can't just focus on one thing. It's truly everything. Like we have to look at this a holistic way.
Yeah. And as Pai and I always say, the two most important decisions that you will ever make are who you have a child with and who you partner with romantically, because those decisions are going to either create the most joy or the most negative feelings
Hmm.
for you. And so when you have constant negativity of, trying to co-parent with someone who you have nothing in common with and who is just doing all sorts of things that are not in the best interest of your child,
Sabotaging.
yeah, like you are going to develop mental health issues because not because there's anything wrong with you, but actually because you're normal.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Paia? Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a
When
little
you were
bit?
saying that, I was just imagining someone with so much anxiety. Like, oh my gosh, what are they gonna do now? What's the next step? Like you're in survival mode because you have to anticipate what the reaction is going to be. Or be hyper vigilant, like in trauma, where you just can't relax and you have to look around. Internally, you're doing that. Externally, you're doing that. You're like, okay, what is the next step? What are they going to do? And what if that person even threatens your safety, also?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had some clients who are in those types of situations, and that is why I love to do my work because I love to help people get into happier, safer homes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but if you're worried about your children when, they're with the other parent, like, they're, until the other parent does something pretty bad, you're gonna have to give your child to the other parent is if there's a child custody and parenting time order.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when you're deciding to have a child with somebody, you have to think about, if things go wrong, would I want this person to parent the child alone?
Christy, you're so right on. You're so right on. If I would I leave my child alone with this person? And if
Yeah,
you
I
say
mean,
no, then that's a huge sign to say, if you don't have children, don't have children with that person.
yeah, why are you with that person? Like, hello, like if that person can't be trusted with children, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because, you know, there are very few instances where the children won't be going to that person. And, when the kids are with that person, you are going to be freaking out all the time. So you're not going to even enjoy your alone time or whatever, or your time from away from the children.
Hmm.
And you're probably going to have to clean up the mess that other parent is creating.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of clients who are like, yeah, Jimmy goes to dad's or mom's house and there's no structure there and there's no discipline, or there's physical violence or emotional abuse going on there. And then when the child comes back, I have to like deprogram or, the child and then reprogram the child. And it's just a constant thing. And,
Hmm.
so like just get to know people like for a couple of years before you have a child with them.
Yes, 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 yes. We cannot emphasize that. We cannot emphasize that enough here, Christy.
Like, because that is forever.
That is forever, and children just do not stay. You and I say this all the time. It's not 18 years anymore. It is not 18 years anymore. In this day and age, children are staying with you until 30 just because of everything going on.
Well, and then I've even had a couple of people tell me, excuse me, that their child's parent wants to come live with them. And then the child's like, oh, you don't want mom or dad to be homeless, do you? And then, like, what do you say to your child,
Hmm.
So, I mean, people fall on hard times and
Yeah.
everything. Um, but like, most of the time, if someone who's a good person falls on hard times, a relative will take them in for a while or a friend or something like that.
Right. Somebody would be more than willing to give a helping hand.
So if that person doesn't have anywhere to go, then yeah.
That's a sign right there.
Yeah. So,
Especially if their own mother does not want to take them in.
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I have my kids living with me and yeah. And that's just the way it is and that's fine. And yep.
Hmm.
And then like, as far as, who you partner with affecting your mental health. Well, shit, like, you wake up with that person, you're brushing your teeth with that person, you're starting your day with that person, you're relying on that person to go to work and make money or do their business at home or whatever it is. They might or might not do that. You guys might bicker about every freaking thing. You might have to clean up after that person, or that person's not patient with your flaws. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
constant.
Hmm. You may. I gotta admit, living alone is wonderful.
Well,
And
if
not that, not that this is what you're going through, but those are things to really consider. Really, really, really consider.
yeah, like you have to know somebody for a couple of years before you're like, yes, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with
Mhm.
you.
Right.
You got to know like all their quirks, like
Hmm.
give them a chance to show their to
True
show
self.
their ass,
Yeah. Yeah.
to show their real self. Because
Hmm.
people, and this is women too. Women do this too.
Hell yeah.
They pretend to be somebody who they're not. And then I have like all sorts of guy friends and relatives and stuff who are like, whoo, she is not who she was when I met her. And because unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are self centered. And it's all about what can I get from everybody else.
Hmm.
And you're just one of the people who they're trying to get stuff from. You're
Yeah.
probably the main person who they're trying to get stuff
Yeah.
from.
You probably are the main person.
But So, like, look around that person and, like, are they, helpful?
Mhm.
Or are people doing a lot for them? Are they
Mhm.
taking a lot from others? Because that's exactly how they're gonna be to you.
Right. Are they taking accountability?
Yeah. Or are they just being defensive?
Right.
Like, "What? I didn't do anything wrong. I did that because of ABC."
Mhm.
Yeah. Or trying to pass the blame onto you. "You're just too sensitive." Or, um, most people aren't bothered by that. We've never heard these things, have we? Like, men have never said that to us, and then we've never ditched them.
Right, and then, we feel bad, and we're like, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm" when you've been through enough shit, lived through life, you start recognizing all those, yeah, call that bullshit right out, and if you feel that way, call that bullshit right out. Men, women, whatever it is that
Yep,
you identify with.
yep, yep. Equal opportunity assholes.
Yes, thank you. Equal opportunity a-holes. Yeah. Yeah, what else do you think is important for people to know about
Um,
domestic
so
violence
another
awareness month?
thing, like, when you
That's
get
holiday.
married is you can be financially abused too.
Yes.
Like, I've had clients where, the woman, like, has very little access to money. She's encouraged not to work or only to work part-time.
Given
Um
allowances.
Yep, yep. And, she doesn't know anything about finances, like, she doesn't, like, never looked at the taxes, like, doesn't even know how much money he makes, or she could be working, but she doesn't know how much money he makes, and, her paycheck is paying half the expenses, but she's like, "Well, I mean, he's an accountant, and, like, I'm a bookkeeper, so he probably makes more money than me. So where's his money going?" But I'm still paying half the expenses.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Do you see a lot of that, Christy, in your line of work, the financial abuse?
um, not tons of it, but usually it coincides with emotional or physical abuse,
Mhm.
and it's usually the woman that's being financially abused. And yeah, like maybe like 20% of the time.
Mhm.
Now, I don't work on the really horrible cases. I did that many years ago working under attorneys, and I hope I never have to go back.
Mhm.
Um, so it's probably more like 30% or more in the really high conflict cases.
And I think most women, I'm gonna say women, don't even realize that they're being financially abused.
That's a good point, because so a lot of, especially like traditional women or women. So when I see it a lot is when women get married right out of high school,
Mhm.
or like maybe while they're just a couple years into college, um,
Mhm.
or when they're marrying a significantly older man.
Yes.
And so, like, like they don't know how the world works because they have not had enough life experience.
Mhm.
And so they're just relying on the man to do stuff
Mhm.
and, takes that into consideration, takes advantage of that.
Being taken care of.
You
We
can't.
could probably do another episode on that too, is the being taken care of, um, being a traditional, like, I hate to say the trad wife, but there's so much red flags and selling this fantasy for young women to believe that being taken care of and not knowing anything is being taken care of, and there's so much exploitation in that.
Ooh, let's make that our next episode.
Yeah,
At
okay.
least part of it.
Right.
Because
So we'll do that in November, y'all, when
yeah,
it's like the holidays. Traditional. Yeah, it would be a great episode to do in November. because there's a lot of exploitation about it. And notice you don't see 40-year-olds trying to sell that fantasy, and it's young women who are trying to sell that fantasy. When I say young, I mean like under 30.
Oh, really? Are most of the tread wives under 30? Okay.
The
I just don't even
influencers,
pay attention to
I
them.
should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like probably 25 to like 30. The influencers, I should say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's this is actually a topic near and dear to my heart. So I look forward to talking about it next time.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so we're gonna wrap things up. We hope that you guys like this, and there's so much nuances to all of this, and we hope that you receive some of the education that is so essential. And I'm gonna link in the episode. I mean the information in the description box. But any last words, Christy, before I let you go?
Just please remember the most important decisions that you will ever make are who you have a child with, because that's forever, and who you marry, because that's until you can get a divorce. And that could
Mm,
cost a lot of money if you don't use Christy Legal.
yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you all, and we will see you all next time. Everybody, take care. And if you like this episode, definitely hit the like button. And if you can do us a favor or me a favor, hit the subscribe button also. So, thank you, everybody. We will see you all in November. Happy Halloween and take care. Bye.
Happy Halloween, my pretties.